Welcome to Shootin the Bull, the official podcast of the championship darts circuit. A casual conversation about the sport of darts, talking about topics of the day from a North American perspective, featuring a cast of characters and contributors from the CDC roster and the world of darts. Now here's your host, Anthony Eugenia.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of Shooting the Bull, the official podcast of the championship darts circuit. I am your host, Anthony Eugenia. Thank you for joining us tonight on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Please give the broadcast a like and subscribe to the pages. All right. You can also find us on social media platforms: Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You can search up at Champ Darts and find us there. Please give us a like, a follow, and a subscribe. We will also have this podcast up in audio form on Apple, Spotify, and all your favorite podcast platforms. Again, please give us a subscription on those platforms and a 5-star review if you like the product. All right. So let's, without further ado, let's bring in the boys joining us tonight. You know them, you love them. Cast of characters that are going to join me for the season behind the microphone for the championship darts circuit. First up, Mr. Sean Green. Let's bring in Sean. There's Mr. Sean.
Hey guys, how's it going? Love it. Nice. That was a good picture.
And joining us is Mr. Mark Taggart. Let's bring in Mark.
Hey guys, good to see everyone. Good to see you, Sean.
What's up, boys? What's up, boys? Thanks for joining me.
How are you? Thanks for having me.
You are definitely way better on the microphone than I am, because obviously the picture choices that were picked. Mark, yours looks so classy compared to mine.
I wouldn't say that. Those sunglasses are stylish.
I'm sure there's major consensus out there. We got a good-looking bunch for this episode, so no worries out there. Like they used to say, Mark, of Steve Beaton, the ladies' choice, right? Tonight, boom, this one's for the ladies, all right? Don't forget, you can leave a comment in the chat and play along tonight, and we'll keep tabs on that. And if we've got any questions, we'll do our best to get to them before the show is over, all right? So we've got some special stuff tonight. We are going to start off with a look at the upcoming 2025 CDC Cross Border Darts Challenge. So let's bring up the poster with Mr. Leonard Gates, and I'm going to give you a little info. Yep, coming up in just 2 short weeks, Friday, April 11th and Saturday, April 12th, live from Hitcore in Simi Valley, California, is the third offering of the CDC Cross Border Darts Challenge, which will see 8 USA players take on 8 Canadian players in a really unique format. It is a singles competition, but it has a national twist to it. Those 8 players on each side that represent their nation will earn points that will go towards the Nations Cup. We'll get into it, but Canada is coming off 2 wins in 2 tries. So the USA has got some work. We're going to be live from Hitcore Friday night, 6 p.m., and that's Pacific time. And then we'll come back to you with the second session on Saturday, April 12th at 2 p.m. Pacific. So we want to give the East Coast and possibly even the UK a little glimpse at the darts on Saturday, okay? For ticket information, you can pull up hitcore.com/shows. All right. Tickets, limited group of tickets are available to come see us in person. Friday tickets are $20. Saturday are $30. Very reasonable. You can buy a weekend package for $45. So you come, if you are, within driving distance of Southern California, come out. I hear there's, in the works, there's a little like pregame party going to happen outside. So you can come pregame, banter, get all excited, get ready for the darts, come on inside, maybe come in costume, fancy dress, as the British like to say, come and just have, a flat out fun, right? Additionally, we've got another sort of new new ground that we want to break here in North America. This event will be streamed exclusively on the HitCore platform, and that's the only way you will be able to watch this if you do not come see us in site. So that same address, hitcore.com/shows, you'll be able to get the streaming info. You will be able to buy a weekend package, both sessions of darts, 15 amazing matches featuring 16 of North America's best for only $5.01. 501 gets you the Cross Border package for the weekend. So, another sort of place that we want to go to bring darts in North America. Not only, seating capacity, fans in venues, but now a look at a pay-per-view platform. The pay-per-view price not only gets you the event for the weekend, but HitCore has a great item called the Encore package. So you'll be able to view the event, post the event, and we expect to have some great bells and whistles that HitCore offers, which would be additional production part of the show, so you can sort of go into it post and see it from different cameras and experience it in a little different way. So now we ask for your support on this as we sort of break new ground on a venture like that. Now, don't freak out. We'll be quite up honest. This is not, CDC darts going behind a paywall permanently, because that's going to be the first thought. The championship dart circuit for this season will be on our regular platforms. You'll be able to see us on PDC TV and YouTube and such. But this is if you want to help us grow, this is sort of part of one of those things, it's not a price gouging operation. It's more about to gauge the interest and the support of fans in North America, and hopefully maybe a little bit worldwide. But, we want to show how we've grown as a company and as a venture in North America. So that's your info. We'll continue to give that to you as the evening unfolds. Now let's turn to the field. So let's get we've got a graphic. Yep, this is the players. So we'll take a quick look at the players in this event, and then also hype you up a little bit. Both of the boys, Mark and Sean, have covered this event in the previous 2 years, so we'll sort of get a taste of what the excitement of the Cross Border is. So the teams were picked, as you see right there, the top 6 from the rankings at the end of 2024. So those players earned their way in on each respective team, and then we leave a little wild card action to be picked in those last 2 remaining spots. So that's how those teams were picked. For the audio viewers, I'll give you a quick rundown. Team USA: Leonard Gates, Stowe Bunce, Adam Savada, Alex Spellman, Jake Womack, Gary Mawson, Doug Boehm, Jeff Springer. On the Canadian side, the 2-time defending champions: Jacob Taylor, Steve Warnock, Jeff Smith, Jack Robinson, Jason Roker, Chris Caldwell, Kylie Edmonds, and Albert Anstey. All right, so those are your lineups. And before we get in there, let's take a look at the last 2 years. Mark, you were with us in Jersey City as we put this event on for the first time and got to see what this event can be. We saw Jeff Smith win that year, and of course I know you were also following last year's event when it was in Michigan City. So give us your take on the event, and then what has gone on the last 2 years for what people can expect.
Yeah, I think it's a great concept, and I think it sort of went from strength to strength both years. I think the team's element adds a little extra spice, especially when things start to get tight in the brackets as far as each point sort of being additionally meaningful. And it's a subplot beyond the actual knockout portion as well. But definitely that first year, Jeff Smith was on a mission, and he made it look ridiculously easy. And of course it's not, because it's a super tough field to go through. But he just played phenomenal. One of those evenings where nothing could go wrong for him. And, I think he dropped 2 legs the whole event, which is just insane. And the final as well, poor Jim Long didn't really know what hit him and didn't have an answer. That momentum just continued right through to the end. So that was definitely a really good year, especially for its first year. I'll let Sean comment on 2024, which, as I say, I think it got even better. There was a couple of highlights there as well that I'll let Sean dig into that just put some cherries on the cake. But I love the event itself. I love the fact that there's people there in the venues, both venues, all three venues, because I've seen the previews of what the fourth one looks like, are fantastic. The setting is really, really good. The stages are fantastic. The production level is great, and you know, it's a testament to the CDC. They're really trying to do the right thing for that type of event when they're bringing 16 of the best from Canada and the U.S.
So Sean, yep. And I need to remind everybody, I should have opened up the show here and teased this. You know, we're going to do the draw live in just a few minutes. So we're going to see live reactions to the matchups coming up at the 2025 Cross Border. So we've got seeds all set, and we're going to pick the players who are going to take them on. So we move into year 2, Sean, and we saw Alex Spellman lift the trophy for the event, but along the way, a couple of interesting things happened at the Cross Border last year.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Yeah, Alex Spellman start off the entire event for himself with a 9-darter against Sylvain Bordeaux in a 5-2 victory, and he just continued to run from there. But I want to talk about the fact that the Canadian side, even at a disadvantage last year, which if you look at the seedings, you would say that they were kind of the underdogs going into last year, for them to pull together the way that they did to upset some of those top players on the U.S. side. And until they don't do that, that's going to be kind of a line in the sand, right? But last year saw a lot of great things. Dave Cameron averaging 97 in the quarterfinals. Spellman, again, didn't average below 90 the entire event. Starting off with that 97 in leg number 1. It was just really cool to see. And then you got down to the semifinals. If Stowe Bunce beats David Cameron, the Americans win. If David Cameron beats Stowe Bunce, the Canadians win. And so that semifinal ended up becoming such a big deal overall within the format. And it just made for a really cool, like Mark said, the storylines become so much more powerful. Year 1, the storylines kind of faded out. The Americans only scored 2 points total. You had 4 Canadians in the semifinal, which was insane. I don't think that that's going to happen again on either side as this continues to move forward. But going into last year, it almost became what we thought it could become as far as the competitiveness of it between the U.S. and the Canadians.
Yeah, it's continued to evolve, which
yeah,
lends itself
it's been really
to some
cool
excitement about how it would continue. I'll take questions in real time if they're pertinent to what we're talking about. So, question on how do the wild cards get picked? They are completely at the discretion of the CDC executive board. It's just, you know, we want to leave some room, so there's, you know, a wide swath of what goes into those picks, and these were the picks that were chosen for 2025. So as the boys said, just to give people more format info. So yeah, all of the matches in round 1 will be USA versus Canada. So that just lends itself to the 8 matches on Friday being a whole lot of fun. You know, God bless the Canadian boys. We know everybody's chomping at the bit to get them on Canadian soil, get a little home cooking, and you know that still is a possibility. But you know, so that they've gone into now for 3 years, you know, enemy territory, and you know. And it just lends itself to having fun. So those winners of each match earn a point. So, you know, as the boys laid out, each year has had some different permutations, and we get a sense of what night 2 might look like. And then you see what players are remaining. And again, everybody continues to earn points for their respective sides. So the first side to, what would that be? 9 points would win the, Nations Cup, as we call it. So let's quickly pull up that roster again and see if we can now give everybody a little look at the teams. You'll see 1 to 4 on each side are your seeds, so they're going to be in the bracket there. We've got CDC winners of events, CDC Continental Cup winners. Both respective champions of this event are back. So you've got, you know, Jeff Smith there as the Canadian 3, and Alex Spellman. So 2 players who've tasted victory in this particular event. So let's see, Sean, give us, you know, what what players jump out there for you? Give me, maybe one on each side, if you will, of players who may be coming in either in form or, ones to watch for the fans.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually going to point out an interesting fact for the U.S. side. Leonard Gates has lost in the first round both times in this event, so he's never even made it to the quarterfinals. So I think that's a step that he's going to want to take this year and just kind of see how he can progress forward. He's playing really well right now, and I could definitely see that happening. But I'd say that the seeds for the Americans, that 1 through 4, I don't know of a more powerful group of 4 for seeded players that you can really come up with on the American side. I mean, you got 8 players in the top 11 from 2024 point standings there on the American side, which stands out massively, including a lot of winners from last season. And then on the Canadian side, you almost have a few unknowns, really, and someone like Jason Roker, Chris Caldwell, some of the old school players that got those wild card spots, and Kylie Edmonds and Albert Anstey that are going to be fantastic. Kylie had a great season last year with a full season in slate, and I think he can come in here and shock some people too as one of those wild cards. I thought that was a great wild card pick for sure.
And to give them some credit there on that Canadian side, these are players that have put in a lot of time and have earned these spots. They're coming off some good 2024 seasons, and have had some good showings and put themselves in a good position to now take that next step and really be showcased in a great way at the cross border. So Mark, same for you, if you will, if there's anything that jumps out at you per side going into the event in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I think Jeff Springer's a really good addition. He's really dove in to the CDC world the last couple of years, but certainly he's been running deep in events for the last 2 years that I know, and he's had spells overseas. He's been playing in various tournaments over there, holding his own and more so. I think he's a really good addition to the U.S. team. And it's already, to Sean's point, pretty stacked as it is. So bringing him in only bolsters it even more so. On the Canadian side, I think Steve Warnock is always someone that he's very professional, very hard to beat. I think he enjoys the Canadian element of it as well. He extra little bit of passion. I don't want to make too many parallels to the Gulf Ryder Cup, but I will. You put that, you have that extra element there. It can spur you on.
And you're right. So, he's been a standout for in his first 2 appearances at the cross border, an absolute standout for the Canadian side.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. There's a couple of unknowns that Sean mentioned on the Canadian side, but we know that anyone that's there, beyond earning their right to be there, they're coming there to compete. They're not flying the whole way into Los Angeles just to make up the numbers. So it's going to be fun.
It's definitely going to be fun, and I'll tease a little bit for folks who may not know Albert Anstey. You keep an eye on that gentleman. He's got some major chops. He's one of those players that the players who know sort of give you that knowing nod about, like, just wait till you try and get a handle on Albert. He actually recently went over to the UK and did an exhibition with Jeff Smith. Took a couple of legs off a young man some people might know out there by the name of Luke Littler. So, and that was really interesting to, hey, he got to the double before the kid did, so, a fun member of Team Canada. So, before we're about to get underway with the draw, we want to recognize the chat. Let me see, who's in there. Of course, we've got to say hello to Mr. William Stewart in the chat room. So, a question about what exactly do they win for winning the border challenge? It's pride, baby. It's absolute pride. You've got members of Team Canada who will certainly remind you all season long who the 2-time defending champs are. In terms of singles, the event itself is a $15,000 prize pool. First place is $3,000 and a opportunity to then go play at MSG in June in the PDC U.S. Darts Masters and the PDC North American Championship with not only the exposure that it brings, the cachet of playing at MSG, but chances to also make the World Championship and Grand Slam if you win that North American. So quite a bit to play for, and a lot of it can start for some of these players right here at Hitcore in the cross border, right? And you know, and a good chunk of change for everybody down there. So, you know, worth these players' whiles to come out and compete and take a shot at the cross border crown. All right, boys, we ready? We want to take a shot at a draw? All right. If you will, Mr. Jeff, bring us up the bracket. We're going to take a look at the bracket. I will lay things out for everybody, and then we'll get the draw underway. As I said, each side is the top 4 players from those rankings get seeded, and then the other 4 players go into a draw. Mark will take the Canadian draw. He's got Jason Roker, Chris Caldwell, Kylie Edmonds, Albert Anstey in a little satchel, ready to get drawn out. Sean will take the USA side, so he's got Jake Womack, Gary Moss, and Doug Boehm, Jeff Springer in a CDC ball cap right there, okay? Again, the way the bracket is sort of set up, you see up there Leonard Gates, the US 1 in his same corner there is the Canadian 4, and then the Canadian 2 Warnock has the US 3, and conversely on the other side, Canadian 1 plays the US 4, US 2 plays the Canadian 3, not plays, but is in that same quarter. So what that'll do for you, for the bracket heads out there, a couple of things can play out. A, we're going to draw it. Every game is going to be USA Canada. 2, that you see there, you know, USA 1 is Canadian 4 if those players sort of progress. If seeds continue to win, you have different permutations that you could see in a final. The USA 1 and 2 could meet in a final. Canadian 1 and 2 could meet in a final. Or you can have both ones from each country meet in a final. So it still gives you those chances to have the players that earn those highest seeds the ability to meet in a final. And of course, along the way, you've got a lot of fun opportunities at upsets, but that's the way the bracket is set the way it is. All right. So without further ado, we're going to start in the upper left with Leonard Gates. He is your USA number 1. So Mark, if you will, give me one of those 4 players and we will see who Gates plays to open up the Cross Border Darts Challenge.
Chris Caldwell.
All right, so Caldwell takes on Gates. Moving down, Jack Robinson, your Canadian 4, will play Mr. Sean. Give me one out of the hat.
All right. Jake Womack.
So we've got Womack taking on Robinson in that upper quadrant. Moving down, Steve Warnock, the Canadian 2. So we'll go back. We're going to go back to Sean. Go back to Sean for a USA pick. Okay.
All right. Steve Warnock will take on no name, Doug Boehm.
Okay, so Boehm. Now rounding out that side, Adam Savada, your USA number 3. Now, Mr. Mark, give me a Canadian player, please.
Kylie Edmonds.
Kylie Edmonds. And that is the left side of the draw. We'll take a dive in a few minutes on these matchups. So upper right-hand corner, Jacob Taylor, your Canadian 1, will take on from the USA, Sean, USA.
I figured. It's all right. We're good. We got this.
Okay. Jeff is our producer. Jeff is getting caught up on the names for Savada. Kylie Edmonds takes on Adam Savada in your lower left. We're moving faster than the young man can type. Sean, did you take something out of the
I did.
cap? Just hold it up high in the camera.
Did.
Okay.
All right.
Just okay. Yep. All right.
Yep.
So We're up to date. Jacob Taylor, your Canadian 1, will take on Gary Mawson from the USA side out of Florida. So now moving down, Spellman, the defending champion USA number 4 seed, takes on. Oh boy. Jason Roker. So you've got a Spellman Roker match in that upper right-hand quadrant. Moving down, Stowe Bunce is your number 2. Now Mark gets a back-to-back appearance. The last Canadian, Albert Anstey, takes on Stowe Bunce. And to round out the competition, Jeff Smith, the inaugural winner, the number 3 seed for the Canadian side. He will take on, I think we all know by process of elimination, the Stinger, Jeff Springer. So we've got a Jeff contest up there. All right, I will go through the matchups, and then we'll take a quick glide through the bracket for you audio listeners. So upper left hand in the bracket, Leonard Gates, U.S. 1, takes on Chris Caldwell. Jack Robinson, Canadian 4, takes on Jake Womack. Steve Warnock, Canadian 2, takes on Doug Boehm. Adam Savada, USA 3, takes on Kylie Edmonds. Upper right-hand corner of the bracket, Jacob Taylor, Canadian 1, takes on Gary Mawson. Alex Spellman, USA 4, takes on Jason Roker. Stowe Bunce, USA number 2, takes on Albert Ansley. And Jeff Smith, Canadian number 3, takes on Jeff Springer. One correction there. Jeff, our producer, just fixed Albert's name. It's Anstey, Anstey. So we'll get that corrected. No worries on that. Thank you, sir. So let's go through quickly. Gates. Do we want to go one-on-one? Gates Caldwell reaction.
Great draw.
As duly noted, though, I mean, Gates coming in 1, but has not gone past that night 1. So
we'll see if that continues.
Big task for Caldwell. Jack, a good matchup here. Jack Robinson, a big year for him. We saw him a lot on camera last year on the circuit, taking on Jake Womack. Jake lifted a CDC trophy there, so a big matchup there. Might be a lot for Robinson to take on with Womack there. Warnock, we talked about his performances here in this event. Doug Boehm has also had some big stage moments, CDC wise, mainly Continental Cup, but no stranger to big time stage events is Boehm, right? Big time MSG moments. So another person who's real comfortable up there. And you guys, if you've got something that I'm not covering, please jump in. Savada, we move down the bracket. No, I'm talking fast because, it is, in all fairness, folks, we talked about this. This is new stuff. It's new matchups. So it's, trying to process what we're going to do, I believe. So let's finish this side. Savada, we saw Savada. We talked about that slow burn over the summer, Sean, in that Savada just kept getting better and better. Takes on, he gets Edmonds, and, Edmonds has somewhat had like a resurgence in CDC. We saw a lot of appearances in the Continental Cup for a couple of years. And I think I think it was a matter of not competing enough, that why his rankings went low. Not that Kylie's dropped off from a performance standpoint. So back up in the rankings, sees a Savada Edmonds on that left side.
They played each other once last year. Did Savada and Edmonds. Savada got it 5-1, but Edmonds averaged 87 to Savada's 93.5. So I expect that to be a really good battle. I think that's be a good matchup there on the bottom side of that bracket.
And we'll have all of this out on our social media platforms. Plus, we'll give you a little peek at these players, a little profile of everybody. And we're going to give the boys some time to process these matchups. Take a look, take a deep dive. These are the two guys on with me, along with, Gordon Dixon, who also does matches for us, or smart, educated, experienced dart guys. So they're going to take a deep dive in these matchups, look at prior matchups, and give us, and we're going to put their feet to the fire and and we'll get some picks from the boys, and we'll put them out next week on social media. So let's take another quick look at the bracket, and we'll run down that right side for everybody. So we'll have Jeff bring back up the bracket, and then we'll wrap this up there. So Jacob Taylor, Gary Mawson. Taylor moves up to the Canadian 1, taking on Mawson. Again, one of those really tough CDC performers. Spellman, the defending champ. Go ahead,
Sorry,
Sean.
that's actually a rematch from 2023, the first round of the Cross Border Darts Challenge, Jacob Taylor versus Gary Mawson. Taylor got that one off Mawson 4-1, with averaging 88 in the process. So Mawson looking for a little redemption there.
Defending champ Spellman takes on Roker, so we'll see what Jason Roker does in that spotlight of an opportunity to play in the cross border, taking on Mr. Nine Darter himself, the Jackal, Alex Spellman. Stowe Bunce, your U.S. 2 takes on Albert Anstey. This one really jumped out at me when it came out of the bag. So I want to really look forward to seeing Bunce and Anstey. I think from I've seen Albert a little bit. I think he enjoys the moment, and I think this could be a little bbit of fun in terms of walk-ons, crowd interactions, and they're both going to bring it on the board. So I definitely think that this is going to be an interesting one to watch. And then, boy, oh boy, you want to bring the heat as we close out a bracket. Jeff Smith taking on Jeff Springer. I mean, just quality there. Fan bases, social media followings. So, a lot to salivate on in that Smith-Springer match. So, before we head out of this, I want to thank you boys for conducting that draw. We didn't have any major hiccups. Things went well. So, kudos to you. On a big thanks on behalf of tournament director Peter Citera that, we got that done. Give you both a chance, starting with Mark. Any preliminary things that you see, shaping up here, and or about the event itself as we gear up for 2 weeks from now in Southern California?
Expect some upsets, is what I would say. There's this event always throws up something, and I think will be entertained all the way throughout the event, especially depending on how the lineups are made, matches 1 through 8, as the evening bills and the atmosphere bills. It's just going to be a really good event Friday and the Saturday, so can't wait to see.
Mr. Green, your take on preliminary look at a fresh, hot fresh bracket right out of the draw oven, and what to expect in a couple weeks.
It's going to be great. I mean, you already, I think, saw there that I was already looking up previous matches between the players, and just the excitement of the unknown of how it's going to go this year. Definitely, there is a huge advantage for the Americans as far as if you're just looking on paper. But last year there was the same thing, and you never want to count out Jeff Smith when he's trying to get back at MSG. I just want to point that out. Not qualified so far, so he's going to try and get back to MSG, and I think it's going to be really tough for anyone that has to go up against him.
All right, everybody. So that's it. We've got the draw done for the upcoming CDC Cross Border Darts Challenge, Friday, April 11th, Saturday, April 12th at Hitcore in Simi Valley, California. Tickets are available for a weekend package of $45. Pay-per-view information is also available. Weekend package of $501 gets you the ticket to check out the Cross Border. You can get all of that information at hitcore.com/shows. So check out Hitcore. That's HITKOR.com/shows. Okay, and that will get you the information on the cross border. All right, thanks, boys. We're going to go to a little promo deal. I'm going to throw Jeff a little curveball. Before we go to MSG promos, do you have the newsletter? The newsletter promo. Throw him a curveball here, and he's freaking out probably. And if he doesn't, just there you go. Sign up for the official newsletter today. You can sign up at champdarts.info/in the know. So stay in the know with the CDC. Sign up for the newsletter, and you'll be the first to know latest news and special offers from sponsors and discounts and insider info. Now we're going to go take a quick look and a promo for the upcoming PDC U.S. Darts Masters in the Big Apple.
That's what I like to see. That's real darts. Pure darts. The greatest darting force on the planet right now. How about that? Oh, magnificent. Sensational darts!
The PDC U.S. Darts Masters returns to Madison Square Garden June 27th and 28th. And if you don't have your tickets by now, I don't really know what to say. But the event has been spectacular every year, and I think it's going to sell out. So if you don't have your tickets now, man, you got to get on top of things. You can go to pdc.tv/tickets and see what's left. And if you can't get a ticket, get in touch. I might know a guy. All right. So don't miss out PDC U.S. Masters. And I mean the guy on the corner. I'm not talking about any true inside info. I'm a New Yorker. Don't worry about it. I'm sure I could find a guy over by the hot dog stand that we can get you a ticket. All right. Moving on into our next segment. Now we're going to just have a little bit of fun here. Our second segment is the darts rundown on what's going on in darts around the world.
Are you ready? And now, darts around the world!
Oh, sorry, I was headbanging there for a second. All right, we're off and running. We unfortunately, Jeff, pull that down. We've got a tech issue with the rundown. Let's see if Jeff can update. That was our last episode's rundown. But no worries. I am fully prepared. If you go to a three-shot between us, we can talk about the topics at hand. There you go. So our rundown, we've got 5 topics, and we're just going to give a quick 2 minutes to each. So we want to just take a quick look back at the PDC UK Open, won by Luke Littler, defeated James Wade 11-2. You can't do a show these days, right, without talking about Littler. He's coming off 2 weeks of Premier League wins, and he talked about in his post interview that he is his goal is to in a career get that sort of career slam and tick off all of these majors, and he's just about halfway there in his first year. So Mark, what more is there to say about this young man at 18? That's about it. But
he makes it look stupidly easy, just stupidly easy.
And he did.
He's beyond the darting ability, his counting, his board management, his temperament. It's like he's been doing it for 20 years. The big stages, like Newcastle tonight in the Premier League, was as boisterous as it gets. And nothing really seems to faze him too much. And he actually can laugh at himself, some of the faces he pulls, at the board and various bits and pieces. But he's got a wise head on young shoulders. And boy, can he throw a dart.
So, Sean, that UK Open, I look back and, last couple of rounds, most of them he went through pretty easy. And, Wade had a, resurgent weekend, but just couldn't put up much against Littler. And, like we said, Littler is, quickly adding pages to his resume.
The gross part, hands down, is just that when they interview him afterwards and he's like, yeah, I haven't picked up a dot since last week. And it's like, really? You just don't even practice and you just show back up and perform 100+ averages again. It just shows you just how much actual talent he has just in his arm alone. And if he ever decides to also practice as much as someone like Phil Taylor used to do back in the day, he could be more than unstoppable. And it's almost like he hits, like all these cars have 6 gears. I think he has a 7th, right? That just, he's like, all right, I've played around long enough and I'm just going to go off now.
And we'll
Yeah,
take a
three of
look. We'll take a look at that Taylor Littler matchup in a few minutes. Mark, last thought on that?
Yeah, just for consistency standpoint as well, he had 3 of the top 5 averages in the UK Open: 106, 107, 108, and just he makes it look effortless to hit those types of numbers. And that's the gauntlet. Like tonight, the interview that they had with him, they asked him, "Do you think the players now are playing you and are already sort of out of their comfort zone because they know what they're up against, even before the occasion, the board, the match itself?" It's like, and he said, "Yeah, they should be. They not only they're not playing the board anymore, that they know they're playing me." And jokingly, he said the only person I don't have their number is Gezi. So again, still trying to show a little bit of humor, a little bit of humbleness, but it's always a humble brag, and he can do it. He's earned the right to have those humble brags.
So now we move. Our second little quick hit topic is Nathan Aspinall. We saw him take a European title, and now he becomes the second player to have won an event on the Development Tour, Challenge Tour, a Players Championship event, a World Series event, a European Tour, and a PDC major. So, Sean, that speaks to me the sort of the system that the PDC has built, but also quite an accomplishment to continue to grow and succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's kind of come into this at around the same times that Humphreys did. I think they both made a similar run at the same time in the World Championships, and ever since that moment, they've both consistently continued to just build on that and improve. It's been really cool to see from Asp. It really has, especially when he's dealing with the dreaded itis that can come into play, and the fact that he's been able to handle it with such pure class that he has, and to be as open and honest about his mental health challenges that are on top of that, really lend itself to really be able to root for someone like that and to really enjoy his success, because it's been hard work and dedication that's kind of led the way for him. It's really cool to see.
Mark, Aspinall and the idea of what both him and Luke have done about winning at these different levels that the PDC offers.
Yeah, he's jumped back up in the top 8 in the world with that latest win, and he was one of the people in the firing line that people were saying don't think he should. Him and Dobie, the name came up over and over again, and he's more than justified it now. He won 3 last leg deciders in the Euros, so not only is he showing that he's got the game to win, but he's sticking in there. He's got the tenacity. He had the 170 against Gary Anderson that basically saved his skin, and then he went on to beat Gary and move forward. He's got a lot of that mental tenacity, and Sean said it. He's had a lot of things. He even had an injury to boot, and amongst everything else, there he's re-engineered his action a little bit. Yeah, still looks a little awkward, but he's definitely putting some things right, and he's getting the rewards for it.
Exactly. That's what came to mind, getting past the physical ailment and then now matching it up with that confidence of, just as you laid out, getting through those, they are, wiping sweat from the brow, but they build that confidence to get through those last leg deciders, really put a lot of confidence in the locker. All right. So now a little bit of fun. Bobby George was asked about Luke Littler and, his sort of place in the game. And, the King of Bling feels that young Mr. Littler would pretty much smash Phil Taylor even in Taylor's heyday. So, right back to Mark. So, prime Taylor, taking on Luke Littler. How does that strike you? And when Bobby George laying that out?
It's a weird one. Is it Taylor in his prime with all the experience and the kid knowing that he's got all that experience? Is it Taylor in his prime and they both won 0, but it's both of them sort of, it's fun. It's like Michael Jordan, LeBron debate.
Absolutely. Ted
I
Williams
I
facing
think
off against
he's
Roger Clemens. It's all fantasy conjecture, and
yeah,
that's fun. It's what fandom is about.
it is. It's great, but I think the one thing that Phil would have, and Luke Littler may not even care about it, it's that gamesmanship, that wily sort of veteran on the hockey. Taylor knew how to do things, and Eric Bristow taught him well beyond the darting side of things. So maybe that would sort of give him an edge, but the kid just doesn't seem to care. He'd probably just still go in and whack in multiple 180s and not even phase him. Who knows? Maybe
Over to you. Over to you, Green.
You know what? It's one of those. You're right. It's a fun argument to have, and I'm gonna lean the other way. Phil with the gamesmanship, with the fact that he would not treat Luke nicely on stage, like it seems like everyone else tends to do now. They kind of just all fall into that trap of, he's 18, 17. We got to protect him a little bit. At a certain point, you're just allowing him to just destroy you on a dartboard the more often that you do that. And Phil wouldn't do it. He would refuse to lose to that kid. So whatever it would take for him, if it's 18 hours a day of practice, he would figure it out to where he was better than that kid still. And that's just the way Phil was wired to play. And that's what made him a 16-time world champion. And he'll be the GOAT until Luke does something similar to that at that same level of domination. Until then, Taylor all day for me.
Next up, we've got a big achievement. We don't cover a lot of soft tip, but when you see greatness, you got to call it out. Leonard Gates wins the Booyah Cup for the fourth straight, running. The event's been in existence for 4 years. Gates has won it all. Sean Green was behind the mic for that win a couple weeks ago, and probably a little more versed. And you were giving us some good stats there in the minimum amount of games that Gates is, if he's actually even lost, right? Maybe he lost because it is a double elimination. So give us a take. You lead us on this one here.
I mean, it's a qualifying tournament, so you have to play in all these qualifiers to even get into it. And by the end of the time, it's a stacked field of soft tip players, of who's who of soft tip, that also brings in some steel tip players. Adam Savada came down that weekend just to qualify and didn't even win the qualifier. I mean, that's how kind of big this field becomes and how talented it is. And for Leonard, he's lost one set. Technically, he went to the double dip against Alex Spellman last year. And that's Alex Spellman, right? So other than that, he has not lost a single match at this venue in this location. And it's 0-1 and cricket combined. It's a long format. It really does open itself up to eventually you run out of steam. And not only that, there's other tournaments throughout the weekend, and Leonard swept most of them. He won most of the events throughout the weekend, not just the Booyah Cup.
And all kinds of stuff. And it was like
he won the
every
blind
time
draw
every
on
time
Thursday
I
night.
tuned in, it's like, oh, it's Gates. It's Gates.
It's crazy. And his domination there, especially in that event, you can tell what it means to him to really perform well there. And now it's who can stop him? Because this year he was the most dominant I think I've seen him of the past few years, especially in the finals. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, just dominant. Crazy.
So, Mark, I guess I'll give you a little, if you could do something with this, just the idea of, Gates winning big soft tips. He's the one in our CDC event. He's the reigning Continental Cup champion. We see him over in Modus. What a sort of well-rounded, good dart player Mr. Gates is.
He's got an eye for the big occasion, Leonard. When he's comfortable and a focused Leonard Gates, he's very, very dangerous. And he also likes to pick up paychecks. And some of those tournaments that have got well-funded paychecks, he gets his rewards. But four in a row, losing one set is just, it's something else.
It's an incredible achievement. Yeah, and there's a lot of value to what you said, and some of those names we were just talking about, your Phil Taylors and all that, like Bristow's, like there's a nose for that winner's check with some players, and Gates is one of them, right?
Yep.
So we finish up with a fun little quirky thing. So we saw a clip of a reporter asking Gerwin Price that if his Instagram account got up to 100,000 followers, would he then be able to challenge Jake Paul to a boxing match? And Price has got a long way to go. I think he's got a couple of thousand to start with, but the reporter says this, and then Jake Paul messages Gerwin Price to say, "Come on down to Greece, my man. Name a price, and we'll put it on." So obviously, just a little bit of fun and banter. But like Mark, what the angle I want to take is, what it would do to get exposure to the sport. Another sort of like quirky way to put this game that we love in front of the non-dart community, right?
It's pretty
and
interesting.
You're a combat sportsman too, so Mark is going to be well versed in the boxing and the MMA and stuff.
It's interesting to me that Jake Paul, I'd want to know if he's sort of aware of darts. Is he aware of Gerwin Price? Did someone sort of prep him in his media team as to who Gerwin is? To take the time to send that message back it's pretty interesting. Good PR for the darting world. The eyeballs and the followers and the clicks. Anything that Jake Paul's name's attached to is going to get momentum. The fact that we're even talking about just a text message or a DM, which is pure fantasy, of course. But it's funny, and Gerwin Price has got that reputation of being the rugby player and sort of that hard man, sort of behind the scenes from a dart world. But he'd be stepping into a different world if that was really the case.
Sean?
Yeah, I mean, the reach alone, I think, would cause some issues, if I'm being honest. Gerwin is built like, a brick wall, right? But so is Jake Paul, and Jake Paul has so much more like fighting capacity. That being said, I just love the fact that people are talking about it. I think that'd be great. Helwani is a darts guy who also is big on the fighting side of things with his podcast and stuff. So I think that'd be a cool little thing that he could really promote well on top of it. And it'd be fun. Gerwin would get whooped real quick, but it'd be a great fun. And the dart fans would all love it because they'd love to see Gerwin Price get punched in the face.
But that's it. The dart fans got to get out there on Instagram and X and hashtag Price versus Paul, right? We got to start the groundswell. So thanks, boys. We're done with our rundown of what's going on with darts around the world. So we're gonna take a step away for a second. I want everybody to take a look and listen to a little piece explaining a profile that Winmar has set up called Your Darts Journey with the world's #1 Luke Humphreys, and there are new episodes available now on the Winmar YouTube page. So let's just take a little preview of Luke with Mark Webster.
For players starting out, Luke, have you got any decent practice techniques they could pick up on?
Around the board's a good one. I think if you're just aiming for them, normal single numbers, the ones, the twos, the threes, and then you sort of go the way round, and then you notice yourself sort of getting a little bit better, I feel like then you can move on to the doubles. If you just do them sort of start-up games, single numbers, and then you move on to the doubles, and then you move on to the trebles, I think that's a slow way to get yourself into a good rhythm.
What's the next step to improve your game?
Well, I think the main thing about darts is checking out. So I think the next step would be maybe around the board, checking out on the doubles. You start at double 1, double 2, double 3, and you go around the whole way to double top. And then if you're perfecting that, I think then it's time to start taking out combination finishes. So maybe start on 41, then you've got to go single 1, double top, then you go to 42, 43.
Luke, talk to us about your practice routines. What do you do to fine-tune your game for a big tournament?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, my scoring's usually pretty decent. So I think for me, it's the finishing. And I think that's something that's helped me prove to the world of being one of the best dart players in the world is finishing.
And it's 2 more vital points for Luke Humphreys. It's back-to-back win.
All right, so don't forget to look up the next episode of Your Darts Journey on the Winmar YouTube page. All right, it's a couple of other pieces of business. Again, we want to remind everybody, don't forget to sign up for the CDC newsletter. Okay, you can Let me look up that address
Get on that,
again.
folks.
champdarts.info/in-the-know so you keep up with the CDC. Sign up for the CDC newsletter to be the first to get the latest news, tips on improving your own dart game, special offers, discounts, and insider info. All right, so that is the newsletter. Thank you, everybody, for being in the chat. I'm keeping tabs on YouTube and Facebook, so we'll see what's in there. Going back to that conversation, I think between Littler and Taylor, the boss Peter Citera types in there, but he doesn't give us sort of a direction. He just says there are two types of people in the world: those who think MJ is the GOAT and those who are wrong. So I don't know what that has to do with Taylor Littler. I think I know what it means because it's my interpretation. And it's funny, just somebody today was asking me about Michael Jordan, and they were shocked at my answer about the qualities that Jordan had that to me I see in Taylor, I see in Gretzky, I see in such and such. So until I see the tenacity of that guy up there in other players, I'm still going to give it to one Philip Douglas Taylor. So that's just me. So moving on, we've got a new segment. We've been trying to showcase some of the boys. I don't know what to expect, but you know it's going to be fun. So, Mr. Jeff, behind the scenes, let's roll it on Sean's new segment.
Oh, look at this. Boom goes the dynamite. Disgusting.
Outstanding. Love it.
Oh.
So Sean's top list is the segment.
So this week I decided to go with top 5 things that give me joy. And first of all, that's now on the list. That's definitely a one that's going to give a lot of people joy. I don't know necessarily me. That was funny. Well done, Jeff. Absolutely wonderful. But let's go through the top 5 things that make me happy or give me joy. Number 5, the Scott Hanisch 180 floor. You see that nice 180 from Scott, and down goes Hanisch.
Our apologies.
My favorite overall here is Norman Madu. He like fist pumps him, gives him a fist bump at the end of that, which is great. Number 4,
he's acknowledging the 180, dude.
She hits a bullseye, and look at the look back. Just the pure joy and excitement of hitting the bullseye on the first dart is just wonderful. Shout out to her for that. That's the joy of the game, right? That we all had at one point, right? That kind of hooked us in there. And of course, I'm just going to let this speak for itself. Number 3 on my list.
How exciting.
This place would erupt.
Yeah, listen to that crowd.
We're looking at coverage.
I like that it paused there before
Alex
able to do that. But the 9 darter there from Spellman got the job done.
141 left for Alex Spellman.
141.
Looking at Spellman closing out a
6 perfect darts from Spellman.
Last year's Cross Border.
How exciting.
This place would erupt.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right. We're going to.
Okay, so.
It wasn't the exact right clip, but that's okay. I blame myself.
We're hitting a little glitch. So number 3 of what makes Sean happy is Alex Spellman hitting a 9. A what?
The one time
9
from Gordon Dixon for the 9 darter. Number 2 on my things that make me happy is, of course, my family. I got to put them up there. You see my little ones there. They're going to give me pride and joy. And, of course, my wife down at the end, who really is the one who is the anchor of the family. She puts up with everything. They're definitely on my list of things to give me joy. Now, that being said, some of you are wondering, that's number 2 on your list. Wouldn't that be most people's number 1 if they want to not sleep on the couch for the rest of their life? And that's a great response. However, my number 1, things that give me joy, and I hope that he's watching along for this, is riding in a car with the man, Mr. Peter Citera. There's nothing that gives me more joy.
You are dead. You are a dead man.
Than riding in a car, an automobile with Peter Citera, who can sit there and just be having a casual conversation with you about life and happiness. And then all of a sudden, come on, where are you going? What are you doing, idiot? Get out of there. and then go right back into just having that conversation with you. It is a hoot, a laugh, and a holler, and I'm so happy that I got to.
Mark, can you
Throw
believe
something
he
out there
went
at him.
there? He started down that road. I said, "Oh, he's going to throw up the Peter picture." We all love the photo, by the way. So those behind the scenes, we adore that photo. We think it is very nice and complimentary. And Peter just thought, "Don't put it up! Don't put it up, please." Pete's in the chat. He's being very nice. He's giving us feedback. Oh, he says we're fired. That's it. Go to black. Jeff, done. We're out.
Boom goes the dynamite. Sorry, Pete. I had to do it.
And divorced all in one evening, Sean. You nailed it, dude.
Sean Green out in the cold. Out in the
there you go.
cold. No family, no boss, no darts. That's it. In need of a play-by-play man for Tiddlywinks 2026.
The
Sean
things-
Green.
There you go. The sacrifices I make for a good segment.
Boy, oh boy. All right, everybody. That was a whole lot of fun. And if you haven't picked up now, I mean, if that's not a reason to tune in to every episode now of Shootin the Bull, we've had what's on Mark's mind, and we've had what's in Pete's glass, and Sean's top things that make him happy, like what possibly could be down the road with Shootin the Bull this year. We've got, and we're going to bring those segments back, people, by the way. I mean, who is not chomping at the bit to find out what's on Mark's mind or what is in Pete's class. Oh, my apologies. Any excuse to give Jeff McMahon an itchy trigger finger back there in production. Good job.
More royalties.
Well,
it's more royalties.
Absolutely. Checks in the mail, Taggart.
I'm still waiting on the last one. Oh.
Yeah, I'd be out playing basketball with that check, my friend. All right, everybody, we're coming about to the end of the program. Expect the next episode. We sit here at the end of March. I would anticipate seeing you probably Thursday night, April 24th, I should say, for the next episode. Stay tuned to social media platforms for information on that. I would anticipate we will do a review and a recap of what went on at the CDC Cross Border, plus an in-depth dive in as we're right on the precipice of opening up the 2025 Championship Darts Circuit proper. We're going to open up in May, all right? Circle back around, of course, like I said, we did the CDC Cross Border Darts Challenge. We did the draw, so you'll find that on social media. We'll get that out tomorrow, April 11th and 12th at Hitcore and Simi Valley. Tickets and pay-per-view information, hitcore.com/shows. Check out champdarts.com. We've got some Q School events coming up. We've got an online Q School this Sunday. Registration ends on Saturday. So if you want to earn your tour card, there's a chance to do it virtually this coming Sunday. So you can check that information on that. Plus, there's 2 additional on-site Q School events coming up. So you can find that on the Q School tab. All right. What other information to go over? Let's give the boys a chance to thank you, of course, to both Mark Taggart and Sean Green for sitting in with me again. It's been an absolute pleasure. So, Mark, on the way out, any parting shots and thoughts on what's going on?
Just always a pleasure. Always good to get on, and I love where this is going and the different elements of breaking down different things, North American, European. And I'll shame myself. I didn't realize at all that $5.01 was in reference to 501 until you actually said it, 501. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for the tip. I'll make sure I clarify in future. Yes, 501.
No, that's on me.
Well, we knew that there was a possibility that the penny was going to go out of circulation, so we thought, let's stimulate the economy and get everybody looking for pennies in the couch cushions as we go into the cross border. So, Sean, give us your parting shots, and I'm going to take a last look at the chat and see if there's any questions that we want to go out on. So, Sean,
listen, you're gonna want to tune in to the Cross Border Darts Challenge this year. So go to hitcore.com, get your subscription, $5.01. For 501, the game that we play in darts. Just want to make sure everyone's aware of that, and get on that. It's going to be a great experience. I'm telling you what the behind the scenes production side is going to do, what the players are going to bring you as far as like the skill level goes. Tune in, get that subscription. It's not that much money. You spend that in fees on DoorDash. Okay, you'll be fine. All right, so go ahead and do that. But I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to being in Simi Valley. I've never been in that part of LA, and it's going to be beautiful, and I cannot wait. And thank you for having me on.
Thank you.
Of course, always.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. Of course. So, looking in the chat, no specific questions, but boy, what a powerhouse lineup in the chat this evening. So, thanks for being in there and having a lot of fun. I see Erin Quinn and Jason Watt and Sharon Butler and Peter Citera and Craig Aiken and Alex Spellman, the defending champ, and who else did we had? Adam Savada in there. So what a group there in the chat. If you weren't in tonight's chat, you missed out. That's an interesting group. So next time, jump in the chat. And so next up, CDC is the CDC Cross Border Darts Challenge from Southern California, and we'll see you with the next episode of Shooting the Bull at the end of April. My name's been Anthony Eugenia, and I've been your host. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight, and just want to leave you with: don't forget to be kind to your neighbor and do the right thing. And we will see you down the road for the next episode of Shooting the Bull.
Thanks for joining us for Shootin' the Bull, the official podcast of the Championship Darts Circuit. Subscribe to the show so you don't miss an episode, and follow us at Champ Darts on social media to keep up with all of the latest news on North American darts.
Oh, look at this.